know some people probably had it hard, but I was blessed. I ain't never saw my mom and daddy stressed. They only show success. I'm living comfort from the sweat off they backs, and that's why all I ever wanted was to give it back. I'm not ashamed cause I was raised right. Nope. I would only be ashamed if I didn't help you fight through the pain, help you journey out the games that your mind played. No matter what, I'm never letting my shine fade away. Forever searching for knowledge, hoping I find grace. Keep your intentions pure, be sure about the risk you take. Pop said failure builds character. I came up short a time or two. Your mind know what your heart been through. Don't let that pressure startle you, and faith off in the Lord will do you justice. We sat and we discuss it. This assistance for the public. A little love will help recover from your struggle. If iron sharpens iron, and let's journey out together forever. J.O.P. It's Journey Out. Journey Out Podcast. Welcome to the Journey Out Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Journey Out Podcast. We want to thank you so much for liking, subscribing, following, commenting, sharing all of our videos. We really appreciate it. We see all of the new subscribers that we're getting and the followers.
Awesome.
So we
Thank you.
appreciate you guys for all that you do. We thank you so much. And of course, if you're new here, this is the Journey Out Podcast where we talk all things family values, entrepreneurship, and healthcare. And today we have a really great episode with a really great family friend. We have Mark here with us, Mark Drake, the entrepreneur, the business leader, the faith-driven visionary.
Yes.
And so we're super excited to have you here, Mark, and to talk about blending business with purpose, being driven by faith, and having a heart for impact. So we are super excited to have you. And so let's talk about where you started, the calling, right? The beginning of your entrepreneurial journey.
Right.
So when did you realize you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and then what do you do?
No, that's really good. Great question. Honestly, I think it chose me. So I grew up in a neighborhood where there was a lot of boys that were crazy enough to let me cut their hair. And so that put me in a position where I would charge them like $5 to cut their hair. And of course, I was ultimately an entrepreneur in that particular transaction.
Right.
So, no, based on that, I never really placed in that perspective. But I will say around probably 06, I remember having a conversation with a good pastor friend of mine. He's a guy that I actually grew up with as well. And I said, you know what, I think I want to start a business. And so I recall him going through a laundry list of all the responsibilities and all the hats you have to wear as an entrepreneur. And I got discouraged. I was like, I didn't think about customer service. I didn't think about, onboarding. I didn't think about, having to manage inventory. I didn't think about that. I just figured I'd just start a business and I'd make money. But he definitely placed things in perspective. And I think that allowed me to at least pivot long enough to be able to answer some of those questions before I really decided to move forward, which happened in 2013.
All right. So talk to us about 2013. What did you start doing?
No, great question. So 2012 is actually when this ideal started for me to launch a mobile app. And this mobile app was kind of a combination between Facebook and Groupon. So I did a lot of research leading up to 2013 in preparation for me actually going live with this particular concept. And so January 3rd is when I established my LLC, got my website and all the above, and really just start working towards building out this program. However, when you're talking mobile applications, that can get really expensive. And so I was looking at easy 50 to 65K. And so based on that, I've never been big on debt. And so I was the guy to say, okay, you give me a credit card, you may not get your money back. Right. So I didn't trust myself like that. So at least at that time, of course, I've matured a lot since then, but I knew that about myself, that I didn't want to get into debt trying to build out this particular business. And so I went to a community college, and I was just kind of going there for some marketing, just trying to gain some wisdom as far as how I can position the business for success. And there was a gentleman that I met, and he developed websites. And at this time, I had already kind of developed a team behind me with this business concept. And I said, you know what, if you would allow us to come in as your sales force, then we can build a partnership where you create, of course, and develop the websites, so we can kind of gain that knowledge in the process. And then, of course, we would just go out and promote your business. And that's the relationship that we established, and it worked out extremely well.
So you established your relationship to learn more about what that was awesome. That's awesome. So tell me this. Who was one of your biggest influences?
You know what? If you would have asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have gave you a different answer. But when I think about it, my dad.
Wow.
Like my dad
Wow.
was the guy at the church that sold the chips and the candy out the car, right? Out the church.
Yeah.
He was the guy that would go and paint. He would, build different things.
Right.
He's a musician, so he would play for different groups and get paid and things of that nature. And so just watching him over the years move and shake, very talented individual. And so I would definitely say he set the tone as far as just going out and making things happen. And then as I evolved in my understanding related to entrepreneurship and being a business professional, my CEO from the previous company that I worked for.
Would you call yourself a serial entrepreneur?
Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many businesses do you have and are you running? Because this man right here, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, well, my sweet spot where I'm putting all my resources into right now, there's only one.
Okay.
However, I've been known to juggle at least 3 to 4 businesses at a time.
Right.
I've always been an advocate of having multiple streams of income. And so in my first business that I focused on was always subscription based. So I was accustomed and I got spoiled with, residual income, doing something one time, getting paid for it every single month and so forth. And to this day, we still have clients on our platform that pays us since 2013. So, with that, every business that I've tried to launch has that residual aspect to it, which is why I was so open to the idea of acquiring different businesses so that residual aspect could occur, right? And so, passive income, I think, is the best way to go about entrepreneurship because, especially when you're a small business, you're wearing multiple hats already. You may as well get the biggest bang for your buck. So that's the attitude. Yeah.
Awesome. And so, how did you determine what you wanted to do? Because really, with all your business, I think it's more tech side, right?
It is.
So how did you determine tech was what you wanted to do?
So the company that I worked for, I was director of operations for a technology company here in Plano, Texas for about 10 years. And during that time, I got exposed to the corporate dynamics. I got exposed to both the front and the back office. And so at certain levels, that start to pull back the curtain and really show you how business works. And so, in that environment, of course, it is a tech-driven environment. It is a tech sales environment as well. And so it just was kind of the thing to do, just given the fact that I was spending 10 to 12 hours in this environment on a monthly basis and getting exposed to all of these conversations centered around how technology is advancing business, is advancing the world around us. And so I just woke up one morning and God gave me an idea for this business concept. And historically speaking, I had business ideas, but I never moved on them until 2013. Let me tell you guys why. Because I was a guy. Procrastination was a big issue for me, right? And so, and I think there's a lot of people who struggle with procrastination who are watching this podcast. And you need to start the business. This is God giving you that warning. But and so before I even started, I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself. So here's what I told myself. I said that historically speaking, you will start something, but then you will stop. And you can't do this because this is really a God thing. I felt in my heart it was. And so I said, versus trying to expedite success, I'm going to take it one step at a time. I'm not going to take a plane, train, a bus. I'm just going to wake up every single day and put one foot in front of the next. And eventually I'll make it to my destination. Okay. And so my ideal of success is much different now than what it was then, and which I look forward to sharing with you guys. But definitely that was a kind of a moment for me where I realized that technology was going to be it, and there was a need for me to really count up the cost as far as what I was going to have to do in order to stay in the game.
Let me sidebar right quick, because you said something powerful that a lot of entrepreneurs deal with, or trying to start a business, or people that have dreams and goals, but procrastination, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How disciplined do you have to be
to
do
just
that?
put the one foot in
just
front
to
of,
put the
just
one
waking up
foot
in the morning.
forward, and even when it don't go your way, you still putting that one. So how disciplined do you have to be?
I think discipline is a byproduct of a made up mind, right? And so it boils down to just understanding your triggers. Like if you reflect on what has hindered you in the past, then you can create a mental hack against that to put yourself in a position to overcome those barriers when they come, right? And so for me, again, it was, hey, I have an issue with procrastination. Let's step back some and create a calculated approach to how I can overcome that, whether it's no
Right.
longer an issue.
Wow.
Right. And so so for me, it was removing the burden of having to have it all today to being able to say, just give me a piece of the pie.
of it.
Right.
Listen, that's me. I understand that.
So instead of saying, okay, I know where I want to be in a year, I'm finna tackle everything tomorrow.
Yeah. Right.
No, you said, okay, you probably, all right, let's see what I'm gonna be at in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the small goal?
And-
There you go.
Great.
And
There you
I
go.
and I can attest to that, because that's kind of how my brain works. Like, especially when you're a visionary. This man right here is a visionary, and so if I'm coming up under him, he's giving me the full 100-year plan.
There you go.
And I'm thinking like, okay, I gotta go do this, I gotta do this, I'm gonna put this down there, and I'm like,
Okay.
hold up, stop, okay, hold on. So yes,
Yeah.
being calculated about it, breaking it down into incremental pieces,
There you
like
go.
by month 3, this is what we
Yeah.
should expect to see.
Right.
By month 6, and so that really has been pivotal. But you're building with purpose.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're
Yes.
building with purpose. So you're growing a business with that kingdom mindset.
Right.
So what has been your approach to building your businesses?
Yeah, so the number one approach is, of course, for me, it starts in phases, and so I tell the team this, like, I handle everything in phases, so I can avoid feeling overwhelmed amongst other things. But building business really centers around my heart for people, and so when I first started my business, I came up with a concept, and I got to give God glory for it, but it's partnership before profit, and so that mindset has yielded me the type of relationships. At levels in which really blows my mind to this day, but it also allows me to govern in a way where I ensure that I'm not scheming or looking for ways to get over people, amongst other things, right? And so for me, it's really important that my organizations are seen as a contributor by way of partnership and alignment. I want to be seen as a team member, right, within your business, so that you can know that we're working towards this goal together.
So even in partnership, right? Partnership don't necessarily mean off the top significant revenue.
Yeah.
Partnership and that mindset is also mean that, hey, you know what? I'm willing to take a back seat. I'm willing to say, hey, let me build this foundation.
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome, bro.
Right,
That's
right.
awesome, bro.
And I think that's just a powerful foundation, because when you put people first, everything else will kind of just follow.
There you go. I
And
agree.
so I think that's what sells the business. The people sell the business. So when you have relationship, when you have like that servant mindset, it's just gonna come back tenfold, because they're like, hey, I appreciate how Mark treated me during this whole process,
Yes.
And so that speaks volumes.
Now, what is the most difficult and rewarding thing about an entrepreneur?
About your
It's about your experience.
Yeah. So I think the most difficult is being able to stay agile and evolve as your category of business evolves.
Right.
And so we
Yeah.
started out in website development, and that was at a time where, of course, websites were a big part of business as far as what they needed, but it wasn't as accessible as it is today. Meaning, you can go any platform is offering a website now. In all due respects. But and so we had to then pivot towards diversifying beyond that. And so we went to social media management, and then went to social media marketing, which consists of like paid ads and so forth. And so just being able to evolve as the needs evolve of our clients, I think what has been the most rewarding, but at the same time the most challenging, because it keeps you on your toes. Because if you're not able to provide the service that they're looking for, guess what? They're going to go somewhere else. And so when we are, at least I'm in this digital world, in this digital space, it's been important for us to, of course, stay on top of what's happening now, and being able to provide that as a solution to our clients in a way that is practical to them, and of course digestible at the same time, because some technology evolves to the point where I barely understand it. It's like, okay, wait a minute, let me figure this out, right? And so, and then being able to take that information that you gather, and then of course package it in a way that can be delivered to your prospects or your clients. And so for us, it will continue to be the most rewarding and challenging thing, which is staying on top of what's evolving, what's next, and so forth.
Right.
But I think at the same time, it adds a lot of value to not only our clients and prospects, but of course just people that we care about, that we want to see them successful.
Right.
So we're quick to share information and say, hey, you can do this and you can do that, and it all stems from things that we were able to learn, so we can service, of course, the people who are trusting us with, of course, that
Right.
category of business.
Right, right, and I do have like a personal question, because this is like super personal for us too. But how has your heart posture and spiritual foundation shaped your business decision?
Oh, that's a great question. So here's, anyone around me in business will know this, which is I have this 3-tier approach, and that's number one, you have to keep your heart right.
Yes.
It's like without that, then you have nothing, okay? Because there's so many things that may pull you out of the true character of God, because you want your business to be shaped by Him. So keeping your heart right and in alignment with Him is number one, because there's a lot of things that may press you outside of that space. The second thing is you have to get up every day and give God something to work with.
Yes.
You don't have to have all the answers.
Right.
But you got to get up and try.
Right.
And I'm gonna
Because
put
you're
all,
not gonna have all
No,
that.
you're not.
Right.
But you still have to get up and say, okay, God, I'm gonna give you the best of me today,
Right.
whatever that looks like. Because again, when you come from a place of procrastination, you know what it's like to just sit on the couch or settle for comfort. The
Right.
list goes on.
Right,
So
right.
being able to get up every single day and say, you know what, I'm gonna inch forward just a little bit more, right? And I'm in hopes that you will honor that little bit, right? So that's the second. And then the thirdly is find somebody to serve. And I think that's where we miss it a lot of times, is that we are willing to keep things afloat by way of business and want to be braggadocious about what you're doing. But the question becomes, who are you serving in the process? Right. And so for me, being able to partner with like nonprofits, ministries outside of even the church realm is a big part of me giving back. Even within my company now, we have a category, a whole plan set aside for nonprofits. And it's just our way of saying, hey, we see what you're doing in the community. We know you're trying to make a difference. Use this check, right? And we will support you on it to help you, of course, go to that next level. And so that's very important to us.
Okay, so I'm gonna share a quick story real quick before I ask this next question. I called Mark, and I was trying to start my business, and I was at a point to where I was like, hey, listen, Saturday I got to talk to this guy on Saturday, but me and you was gonna meet that Friday evening, and I was like, hey, I need some help, but if I don't talk to this guy, if this guy Saturday don't tell me what I need to know, I'm just going out putting out flyers. I went to Mark's house, and he started asking me questions about, hey man, do you have an LLC? Do you have this? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have it. So this question I'm gonna bring up to you. What are some strategies or tips would you recommend to anyone looking to start a business? And by the way, you opened my mind that night in talking to you, so go ahead.
Strategies and tips to starting a business. Really, it really starts with establishing a clear understanding of why you want to do it. So what is the purpose behind you starting your business? Are you looking to make an impact offline, or are you looking to make an impact online? How does that look for you? And then from there, really being able to acquire the necessary disciplines. And when I say that, meaning like every business needs certain infrastructure, right? So you need to have a web presence. I don't care if that's just a social media page. Start there. That's perfectly fine, right? The second aspect of that is being in a position where you also understand your price point. Like, what are you going to be charging for your services? What does your packages look like? And I would say, what was that? Probably 2014, 15 when we met. I probably would have said, get your LLC. Not today though, because it's very important to establish proof of concept now. And what that looks like is being able to create that package and that plan, and being able to go out to market to determine who actually wants it and will they buy it at that price point in which you're able to offer it. But the biggest strategy of all is that when it comes down to it, give it away. You want to build your portfolio. You want to be able to say to yourself, hey, I have 7 people that are currently using this particular services, or I have 7 people who are using this product, and these are the type of benefits they're getting from it. And so going into the mindset, if you have a $100 product, that's the market value, but you're new to the game, you do 25. Why? Because you're trying to build your customer base.
Right.
You're trying to build your brand,
And you're
right?
trying to build your experience.
There you go, as well. And you can't beat experience. You can go to college all day long, but experience is the greatest teacher. It really is.
But I was going to say that because even to the story that you just said, and then even from your journey, really, there's school, college will teach you how to do business administration, all those things, but it's nothing like hands-on, getting in there and just doing it, because that's where you got your knowledge. Now he's a visionary, but see, when you sat down with you, it was a completely different thing, right? But see, as you evolve, as you get put in, different experiences, as you get put into different things, okay, this is how we need to work it. This is the relationship that I garnered from this person. This is how it just flows a lot differently.
And that's awesome. Find your product, find who you're gonna serve, find your price point, and give it away.
Give it away.
Because you got to see if it's proven.
Yeah.
Right. You got to. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how do you measure success beyond profit?
Oh, great question. So to me, measuring success beyond profit centers around your impact, right? And so it comes back to things like what Antoine just said, right? And so he was able to come to me and talk about his desire to do business with me, based on the due diligence that I put forth years before him and I ever sat down.
Right.
And so that speaks to, to that, I think, greatly. But I think there comes a phase where success for an entrepreneur has a cap, because you have to move from success to significance at some point. And so being able to say, you know what, we're making, $1.5 million per year is phenomenal. That's great. But then you have to understand that there's another level to that once you meet that point, which has to do with your significance, right? And so now how do I give back? How do I impact others in a way that they can one day find themselves in the position that I'm in, right? And so understanding for a lot of entrepreneurs, and this is just maturity over the years, because when you start out, you want your business to be successful, which is again phenomenal. But it really boils down to, okay, once it becomes successful, then what?
Right.
And that was where you transition to significance. How do I leave my footprint on this earth in a way that will continue to make an impact, a positive impact over the years?
Right. And so now I want to talk a little bit about innovation in the future, because you're a big tech guy.
Okay.
And so we all know about AI.
That part.
Right.
Okay, so tell us more about what your company is focusing on now.
Yeah, so funny. In 2022, we were looking at a model where we focused on follow-up automation for our clients. And so as a spinoff to doing like social media ads, we generated a lot of leads for our clients, but quickly realized they didn't have the internal capacity to manage those leads effectively. And I somewhat come from that background where lead management was a big part of what we did to be successful. And so we coined the phrase follow-up as a service. That did extremely well. However, it can be expensive for the everyday entrepreneur. And so we, in 2022, launched a model called follow-up automation, where we created unique workflows that would allow business owners to just go out and connect, and people would scan a QR code, and then they would trigger a follow-up campaign, etc. And that's done extremely well for us. However, AI hit the fan also in 2023 timeframe, 2022, 2023, and it has changed the game for a lot of people. And so I've been kind of on the sideline, just kind of monitoring, playing around with Chat GPT and things of that nature, Gemini, etc. And last year we just decided to make that leap. Right. And we put everything into AI because there's nothing bigger. I tell people, and this may be sensitive, my wife doesn't like me to say it, but I say right now there's nothing bigger than AI and Donald Trump. These are the two bigger topics that you cannot avoid that, right? And so, based on that, with AI, we invested and put all our resources to AI in 2024, and we transitioned into a business model where now we consult businesses on how to integrate AI into their operations, and then we also teach everyday users of AI how to monetize it. And so we've created a model where we're extremely excited and proud of. We actually launched February of this year, and we are in our third month at this particular time, but we're doing so well, and we're making so much noise in this particular space. But ultimately, right now, AI is the key. And so if you're doing anything in business, you should know that you have to acquire that skill set to understand prompting, to understand the various tools tools that are out there for you to be able to utilize to really, move your business forward expeditiously. And so because of AI, you can do that.
So, okay, so what impact do you see AI having on the business?
You know what? For this very interview, I teed up an example for you guys I would love to share.
Let's do it.
Can I do that? Okay,
Please,
cool.
please.
Okay, so we offer as a solution AI voice. Okay, so AI voice is essentially a human type of experience with AI that interacts with the caller audibly, of course.
Right,
and it answers questions, it facilitates appointments, the list goes on and on. So I teed this up for you guys, and Brianna, get ready. I hope one of your phones is going to respond to what I'm getting ready to do right now. Just keep it handy.
Okay.
But let's see how this goes.
Oh, one of the phones now.
Oh, not yet.
Hey, you have reached PC Home Help. My name is Pam. How can I help you today?
Hey, how you doing, Pam? This is Mark, and I'm actually here with Antoine as well as Bree, and we are sitting at a podcast talking about how AI is impacting the business landscape.
Hey, Mark, Ann, Antoine, and Bree. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. That sounds like an exciting podcast topic. AI is definitely shaking things up in the business world.
All right, awesome.
Is there anything specific?
I cut you off, but yes, so I would honestly like to know more about the services that PC Home Health offers.
No worries at all. PC Home Health offers a variety of services to improve your loved one's quality of life. We provide medication reminders, personal care like bathing and grooming, companionship services, live-in or hourly care, meal preparation, transportation to appointments, and more.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. How much does it cost for transportation services?
The cost for transportation services can vary based on the specific needs and distance. It's best to contact us directly at 214-991-56119 for detailed pricing information tailored to your situation.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Yeah, if I were to apply, how can I go about applying?
Please wait while I send over the information. I've got you covered. You can apply by visiting our website or contacting us directly for more details. If you need any help with the process, just let me know.
Okay, great. And can you go ahead and, I want to speak with somebody. Can you transfer me to one of the team members?
Please wait while I transfer you to one of our home health agents.
That is so crazy.
Hi, you have reached PC Home Health.
You got the phone.
That was airplane mode.
It's on airplane mode.
Dude, that is wild.
Ain't that crazy?
That is so wild.
That is cool, man. I didn't know you was gonna do that.
There you go.
That
Mind
is awesome.
is blown.
So real quick. So tell us what we just witnessed.
Okay, so what you just experienced was a live AI voice bot that specializes in PC Home Health. So what we've done, we've gathered all the content from your website, from your social, and it was able to build a profile to understand the business. And based on that, it was able to deliver that customer service experience.
Wow.
Not only did it transfer the call to you, but it sent me a text message to the application page on your website. And so, so it's phenomenal. So I'm gonna show you that now, so you guys can see.
Oh my goodness!
Right, and so I don't know if they can see it on the camera or not, but this is their website. There you go. And so, but this is 1.0. If I tell people that right now with AI, it's in the AOL phase. So if you guys can remember,
Yes.
you can't stop playing.
I remember that. I remember that.
Okay, but AOL, if you recall, AOL was extremely slow and kind of dilapidated, right? And so, but now we have the internet on our phones, so it just shows you how it has advanced over the last 20 years or so. And so based on that, AI is there. Eventually we're going to get to a point where AI is operating tasks just as well, if not better, as a human being, right? And so, and this is what they're working towards currently. And so it's important, again, that any entrepreneur, if you are looking to get started, you have to incorporate AI as a part of your tech infrastructure sector because you will get left behind
Wow.
because it's likely your competitors are doing
That's
it.
gonna
And so
Right.
right.
if you are a business too where you're wearing multiple hats, your schedule is tight, there actually may be somebody calling you right now, Bree, or whatever
Right.
that looks like, trying to send you a referral or whatever. But who are they speaking with when your
Right.
phone is on airplane mode?
Wow.
So
Right.
there's just a lot
That's
to
a lot of
consider
things.
there.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So
That's
tell me, so man, that's a lot. So tell me this: is it a reason for anybody to be afraid of AI, or
That's a good
businesses, or
question.
people in general?
So I think the thought process should be more so around how the world has evolved over time. And so we go back to the industrial age. Right before it, there was cart and buggy.
Right.
All right, and that's how people got around and delivered goods, amongst other things. And so, but then you had trains, then you had cars, right? And so the people who was riding the cart and buggy, what did they have to do? They had to learn how to maneuver
Right,
and
right.
start maybe driving cars and trucks and so forth. So it's no different than where we are today. We will evolve with the times, no different than we have in the past. Even from a business standpoint, when websites came out, business owners used to say, well, why do I need a website when I have the Yellow Pages?
Yellow Pages, right,
Now
right.
they have to have a website.
Website, yeah.
But then social media hit, and business owners would say, well, why do I need social media when I got a website?
Well, let me go
Right.
old school.
Yeah.
When Blockbuster was in, and they was putting out DVDs. Well, why do I need a DVD player when I got VHS?
Yeah, there
Right,
you go.
right,
There you go. So it
yes.
evolved. And so now we're at a space where they're saying, hey, I have a website, I have social media.
Right.
Why do I need AI? Right.
Right.
And so, and it's our job to educate and to, of course, bring the necessary clarity that's
Right.
needed for people to really see its value, amongst other things.
Right.
And this is just one example of that.
Right.
Okay.
And so, mind you, my mind is still blown.
Okay.
Like that's just freaking amazing. And I think it really talks to like the legacy and life mission of like what you're trying to do. And so it's beyond like the bottom line. So what is your mission in life?
Yeah, my mission in life is to, of course, work to leave a legacy for my family. That's number one. I want them to be in a position where they never have to work again.
Right.
If anything, they're working the businesses
Right.
that God has blessed me and my wife to create. But also, I see lives being impacted by what we've been able to do. And when I say lives, I mean thousands, if not hundreds of thousands at the end of the day. So with the platform that God has given us, we're using it, of course, in a way in which we're being very intentional about the tone in which we're setting in business, because I think people care about integrity. They care about, being under the umbrella of leadership that really has a heart for God, amongst other things, in
Right,
His people.
right.
And so, the purpose really centers around just being able to, the Bible says, she said, my sheep will know my voice, and a strange voice they will not follow. We just want the sheep that know
Right,
our voice,
exactly.
right? And so, because those are the people who will leave that lasting impact and impression with.
Right.
So that's the purpose behind what
Wow.
we do,
I love that.
to identify those.
Listen, that was great.
It was. I just really appreciate. I just also share with the listeners how they can get all of you, your
Yes.
AI voice, and all the things that you
Yeah, how
that you
can they
have.
reach out to
Please.
you?
No, that's really good. We're gonna keep it simple. Just go to Being Mark Drake on Instagram, and we can connect.
B-E-I-N-G.
BEING
Okay.
Mark
Mark
Drake.
Drake.
Yeah,
On
and so
Instagram.
there you go. You can find me there.
That's
All
so
right,
awesome.
that's
Well,
awesome.
I thank you so much, Mark,
Okay.
for just an amazing conversation just about entrepreneurship as a whole, but also about just that faith-driven entrepreneurship, because that's a lot of people don't see that on a day-to-day
Yeah.
basis.
Right.
And so that's super important to us. And so I'm so happy that you were able to kind of share that today. I hope that you all enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
I mean, it was so great, and there's so many great nuggets in there. So if you have that dream, if you want to get started, please just bite the bullet, just do it. And you will learn so much on the way. You don't have to know everything to get started. Again,
And-
one little experience can change the
And I
outcome.
hope this build you for your day to day. If
Yeah.
you have that dream, right, just take one step at a time. Put
Yeah.
one foot in front of the other. Don't procrastinate.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be easy, but just take one day at a time.
Yes, yes. And with that, we're out.
Okay.
We hope y'all
Peace
enjoyed.
out, guys.
Y'all have a blessed one.
Peace out.